So we've gone over Decaying Winter's stereotypes, but have we gone over the PERK stereotypes? And by this I mean what it means for you as a player if you choose a certain perk. That means if you choose survivalist from anything to being a damned. What does that mean? What does that say about you? We're gonna cover that today. Ooh, mind games, what perk means what? What does that say about you? No, I'm messing. Anyways, this is all just for fun. Don't take it too seriously. If the perk you like doesn't get the stereotype that you like, you know, that's what stereotypes are. They're not true for everyone, but in some cases, they are. That's why they exist. Anyways, let's get into it. Honestly, do I need to show gameplay for the survivalist? They appreciate having a full backpack. They don't need no abilities to keep themselves alive. And honestly, that's respectable. You do you, I'll do me. And the scavs won't do us. Probably. Because of how easy it is to use Hivemine's ability, which is literally just to press and or hold F and cycle, they're probably not good at fighting. They know how good this ability is, so they just use it. And once it's down, they just use it again. Honestly, Hivemine's ability is so strong. I don't know how it's in Decaying Winter, because it genuinely makes Decaying Winter a hard survival game into a I'm gonna sit back, let my bugs do all the work, and you know, once they're gone, I'm gonna resummon them game. Which is very specific, I know, but still. Please don't change this, Archximus. It's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. But besides that, they probably don't know how to parry, they're probably not good at melee, and they're overall probably just an average player, and or a player who is too lazy, like me, to figure out how to play the game for real. So, yeah, that's it. Arbiters can either be really cocky, or really just humble. I mean, these guys can show up, clean the lobby, and leave once they win. And by they, I mean literally just them carrying. Like, a good arbiter can blow up groups of enemies without even trying, and just pub stomp. Like, the enemies won't stand a chance if you have a good arbiter on your team. But then there's the bad ones who probably blame lag for all the bad stuff that happens in life. Anyways, arbiter mains appreciate their mobility and love trick shotting, because I mean that's quite literally what the class does. Trick shots. Most arbiters will rely just on their ability, because I mean it's so strong. I don't see why you wouldn't rely on it, which makes sense because they don't really need to rely on guns either, because their ability again is just so strong. And the reason why is because they believe in themselves. They know they're gonna get that shot. Unless they miss, then they'll pull out the guns, and then they'll remember that the arbiter has some gun debuffs, which very much ruin gunplay for the arbiter. You're probably into those videos that are all about satisfying things that you wouldn't expect, because the arbiter's ability is one of those things. I mean, come on, who doesn't like that? You're probably also a little bit used to playing games that have flashbangs, such as CSGO and Valorant, and all those other games that have flashbangs, because when you get that long-range shot, I feel like you're not only flashing the enemies, but yourself. So you probably shouldn't play this perk if you have epilepsy. Alright, for playing Risk Runner, you probably only live for one thing, and that is to use the minigun and just mow down crowds. Why? Well, because it's satisfying, and I feel like a lot of classes live just to be satisfied with killing enemies. Okay, maybe there's something wrong with us. Anyways, moving on. Don't like being hit and or grappled. Yeah, great grapple's not fun. You don't want to get punished that way. But sometimes these players also do like to make big plays. I mean, come on, do you really use a minigun to tap? No, no one does that. See, if you're gonna use a minigun, the only way you use miniguns is to mow down people. Look at that. 4 enemies dead, and you still got 53%. I mean, to say that the Risk Runner is effective is just an understatement. So you appreciate the fact that you can just solo carry your team in some cases, especially in public lobbies. These guys are probably lone wolves, just running around looking for ammo, but when they show up, they show up. Next up is the Executioner. Now this person probably believes in their melee skills. They definitely know how to parry, and of course how to shove. But if not, then we'll expect them to be farming kills as much as they can. Most likely with the throwing knives, as they're the easiest way to get extra bounty, which also means extra melee damage. Again, they're confident in their melee skills. They know how to fight with well, anything melee. But honestly, the only thing that matters is that they know how to parry. I myself completely know how to parry. So yeah, respect to these guys. And also, unlike the rest of us, they don't rely on scrappers as they physically cannot do that. Expect them to parry at the most crazy times as they are just... I would call them parry gods, because if you're going to focus on melee, you're going to know how to play melee. But I mean, I can't show that. I'm not a melee god. I just shove people and run away. Never mind, I guess I'm a melee god. But executioners will be stubborn as they do not want to lose that damage buff. So if you don't see them taking off that helmet, or if it's really low, they're still not going to take it off. It can be at 1%. They're not going to take off that helmet. Why? Because they have 20 bounties, and there is no way in heck that they're going to lose that just so that it can regen. They're going to ride that for as long as they can, and honestly, I would do the same. So, I guess we can say executioners are a bit stubborn in that regard. In most cases, executioners will be quiet unless somebody goes and purposefully steals their kill or unknowingly steals their kill that they've been working for. That doesn't mean that they're toxic, but in some cases, those players can become toxic. So when that happens, just give the executioner a bit of space. They need their alone time. Executioners will most likely forego their ability to craft weapons, so they are more so team players willing to risk their lives and trust in their teammates, because at the end of the day, their teammates will be the ones carrying the late game, but in the early games, when it matters most, these executioners will be doing their job and will clearing up any small enemies and making sure that the guys who can craft easiest don't get killed. So yeah. They not only trust in their own abilities, but do trust in their teammates to a certain extent. Because at a certain point, an executioner will have to pick up a gun. Like, holy crap, being able to deal 169 damage with just a spear is just absolutely insane. And the executioner realizes this. They are confident in their right-click spam abilities. I'm messing, that's just me. Now we have the Zealot, who is, honestly just...
I am heavy weapons guy.
And this is my gun. Zealots know that they can take damage, and they also know that they can dish out damage with their turrets. Honestly, that's it. They know what their perk does. They know it's really strong. They know you can take damage, and they know you're a frontline class. They're most likely a bro, or a sis. Is that what we call it? What? I don't know. Moving on. Now, tick spiders. I mean, but what else do I have to say? So tick spider players are typically conservative to a point, but they also know that if they just stay at base the whole time and help out, then they will very much contribute to the, well, a win. Tick spiders kit is honestly so useful in placing down traps because those traps can more or less save your team. They're not all about being flashy like the Blitzer or the Risk Runner, but they know that if they do their job right, they can help the team win. Honestly, it's kind of insane. A committed tick spider will stay at base most times and keep on placing tick spiders, usually along a certain path that the enemies will follow if they were to breach your defenses. But if not, then, well, let's just be honest, that's not a real tick spider player. Tick spider players definitely believe in the team. They will trust their team to the max. Max Games. Anybody remember that site? I do. Next up, we have the crosslink, which is kind of a hard one because in a way they play the same role as the tick spider, but they can be more offensive. Honestly, there's not much difference between the crosslink and the tick spider stereotype, besides the fact that they like to see heads roll. I didn't mean my head rolling. Similar to the tick spider, the crosslink most likely has some really good setups, which I personally don't know, but they will definitely be optimized for late game and will definitely amaze you. Unlike this is just an S. So you see S stands, it means hope in my language. Blitzers, they like to see the world burn. Yep, that's it. Whether it be enemies, Allies themselves. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. If you're playing the artillerist, you probably appreciate some aim in your life. I mean, look at that, 150 damage. Sniper. Not dead. Yes, dead. But apparently melee weapons do better. No, but if we're being honest, the artillerist definitely is an ammo hoarder. Mainly because, I mean, they should actually be ammo hoarders. Because they get the most benefit out of picking up ammo from the ground. And besides the fact that their ability makes a lot of noise, the artillerists themselves definitely knows how to have a good time. Especially with guns. A goodie. The Prophet. I mean, they just really appreciate loot. What else can I say besides that? They will loot. They might even be hoarders. But they may deny that fact too, because they are technically helping the team. Then again, they can just not scan, so it really depends if you come across a good prophet who will be nice, or a not so nice prophet who will definitely not show you all the loot, but will scan for themselves. Kind of like Loba from Apex. Plus they like to go fast. If you combine this with the impatient trait, you can go pretty fast. Prophets most likely appreciate simplicity and ease of access, and or instant gratification, because the second you press that scan button, you'll find so much loot. It honestly makes the game feel like a looting simulator. They might be hoarders, they might be nice, they might be not nice, showing where the loot is and or not, and just scanning for themselves. But either way, they will have loot. Tons of it. Next is the Drifter, who is our local edgy boy besides the Vagabond. Nah, but I'm totally messing. But honestly, most Drifters appreciate the mobility that you get from the teleport, and the fact they can one-shot enemies and or do a 3 light hit combo with the attack and then a last hit heavy attack, which is honestly so much damage, it's actually been insane. And it can make them definitely one of the highest damaging classes, and they know that. And they, well, they can use it to completely carry in the early stages, which most of them can do. But the question of whether they do or do not is definitely up to the Drifter themselves. I mean, who would pass on this teleporting ability? It's just too good. It might break your leg sometimes, but besides that, it's completely great. Also, they hate being ambushed while looting literally anything, so sometimes they might just smoke themselves, loot safely, and then just scurry on back to base, unharmed, while the rest of their team is dead. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but yes, that's the point I'm making. Apostles are honestly typically pretty chill. They'll just kind of sit in the back, having Dave do whatever they want. Then again, they can be not chill if you steal their, well, their kill. Because them getting kills helps them summon a second Dave, which they can then use to support the team even further. So at that point, it really depends on what class you are, and whether or not you should have taken that kill. If you're a classic, actually, I'm getting off script. Anyways, Apostle Dads will do their best to help 13 players. They probably are also a little bit more reckless as they get carried away with the fact that they get HP back from enemies they mark. So sometimes they might just rush in and die. Don't tell them I said that. But if not, then they just like the fact that you can spam right click with the Orgia's hand and just do a ton of damage, mark enemies, get their ability up, summon Daves. Like they just play Apostle to play Dave. Honestly, who doesn't play Apostle just to summon Dave? I mean, look at this. Look how cute he is. Oh boy. It's the Vagabond. I love going fast and running around and killing people with the blade. Because it's probably the best part about Vagabond, and kind of the only part about Vagabond. It's like comparing the Scout and the Spy. The Drifter can run around cloaked, stab some people for a lot of damage, and get out. The Scout, however, gets in close, personally takes care of their enemies, and then gets out with their speed. Anyways, it just seems like Vagabonds are a little bit more aggravated towards you if you ever steal their kills, unlike the Executioner. Now, the Executioner will care, but they know their role. Most Vagabonds may not. In some cases, Vagabonds may be cocky as well because they know they can regen their HP, and they're super fast as well. So knowing that, it kind of creates this vortex of never-ending cockiness. And or recklessness. That was too many S's. I mean, just look at this. This is basically the first tier of the old speed glitch. Just like the first thing, you can just do it once. That's how fast you can go. on the base game with Vagabond. Like, I can understand why they like to play Vagabond, but I mean, what are you gonna do against guns? I mean, unless there's something out there that really does make them useful against guns, then I would like to know. I mean, maybe Vagabonds just have a thing for cutting off people's heads, because if they're just spamming their F, then heads will roll. But in most cases, a good Vagabond will have your back. Then again, I don't see that many good Vagabonds. Maybe that's just me. Honestly, I don't even need to show gameplay for the Lazarus, because you're quite literally the definition of a team player for Decaying Winter. You literally just save your not your enemies, your allies, and you stun your enemies. These people definitely trust their team so much more than like everyone else, all the other perks, because let's just say their melee capabilities and or offensive capabilities aren't that great at all, but the support they can put out is actually so insane that they know they can rely on their team. So these guys, very trustful, very helpful, and probably have good reflexes and or reactions, because my goodness, some of the times when I get saved by Lazarus is so last minute. I swear they're just doing it on purpose, but anyways, they always save me. They always save us. I love you, Lazarus mains. Now we have the Berserker. What do? Well, they don't really have much they do besides taking drugs and smashing hard, making sure the enemy never gets back up from their feet, just breaking their legs. Face. I meant to say face, but sure, we can say those are legs, Josh. Berserker players will most likely be chill. They're just there to have a good time, smash some heads in, get a few kills before they get killed by guns, and well, I mean, the good ones will definitely not just get killed by guns. They will absolutely wreck. But I mean, there does always come a point in Decaying Winter where melee just may or may not cut it. But Berserkers don't care. They're in their own world, just breaking stuff. They're just here to have a good time. Honestly, respect. And I forgot this perk was in the game. Huh. Is it just me who forgot this perk existed? It can't just be me, right? Emulators love to be the center of attention. As you can see, they're very much always on fire. They are a melee class. They appreciate the fact that they can set people on fire, deal damage while on fire, and they probably played Pyro when they played Team Fortress 2. Yeah, that's all I got. And you probably also shouldn't give them a lighter in real life. Who knows what they'll do with that in real life. Let's keep it to Roblox, because I don't want to be responsible for what they do in real life. Okay, moving on. If you see a Sovereign, you can bet that they have calm and aggressive behavior on, because without these two traits and Ballistic Dagger, well then Sovereigns just really aren't that good. But this person, just like the Apostle Parent, loves summons. And although I did not state that for the Apostle Parent, their summons can get kind of out of hand. It snowballs real quick. And they know that. And they love it. And they probably have max stamina too, because why not? If you're just gonna shove the whole time, might as well just keep on shoving. Fits me their souls. Yeah. Also, the Sovereign most likely doesn't really know how to parry as well as other melee-oriented classes, because, well, when you have the Ballistic Dagger and a shove that does damage already, then, there's not much need to learn how to parry. So I don't blame them. I mean, look at that. I didn't even have to parry him at all. Not that I could, but I didn't have to. At all. But like the Apostle Parents, who are very attached to their Daves, Sovereigns are most likely also very attached to their pink shadow ghost summon people. Because, I mean, when you lose your best friends who do all the work for you, that's an emotional connection just lost. Maybe it's just me, but Mind Flayer players just have a thing for controlling things, people, life. I mean, their little flayer spiders quite literally take control of enemies. Now, the Mind Flayer player kind of plays the same role as well, you know, the Crosslink and the Tick Spider. Except that their little Mind Flaying spiders can't stay there forever. So unlike those other two classes, or unlike the Tick Spider actually, they have the ability to just go run out, do what they want to do, and then come back and support the team. In some cases, they can steal kills from the perks that rely on kills, such as the Executioner, Vagabond, etc. But in most cases, they're not trying to. Their Mind Flayers just really good at Mind Flaying and get in the way. Usually they're just sitting in the back, letting the Mind Flayers do the work because they can just sit there. They're usually kind of passive. Or they don't believe in their melee skills and or combat skills, or they know that the Mind Flayer can be really useful in just controlling key enemies. In other words, it's hard to tell how good the Mind Flayer player is based on how they use their Mind Flayers. Gee, Josh, it's almost like the way they play the class and or the perk they choose doesn't really matter. Huh, who would have thought? So that's it, right? There's no other perks? That should be all of, oh, that's right. Damned. That kind of says it all, but in most cases, they're absolute beasts. Not in melee, or combat, or fighting. Most cases, damned players are there just to chill, help out the team, because, I mean, honestly, they can't do much with their debuffs. So they're probably just challenging themselves, trying to get better at the game, or they're so good at the game that they just want to give themselves a debuff. Damned players are usually the chillest players. This is the most I've used the word chill in a long time. I don't know how I feel about that. They'll just sit there, listen to your conversation, what are you doing, whatever you're doing, they'll help out. They'll sacrifice themselves in some cases. Because honestly, what do they have to lose? Not much. But friend these guys. They will keep you safe when other perks will not. I'm looking at you, Vagabond. This has been Decaying Winter Perk Stereotypes. Remember, the perk that you choose doesn't determine your personality, and the personality you have doesn't determine your perk. Choose whatever, play whatever. This was all just for fun. I hope you enjoyed, and have a great rest of your time. Day, night, something. Bye-bye. Subscribe. You don't have to, but you should.